Stocks on Wall Street fall for a third straight day, bogged down by the further pullback in Oracle. US jobless claims also tumbled to 218,000, well below the estimate of 235,000. Markets in Asia trade lower. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a lower start for the Indian market. Crude oil prices hold steady after hitting a 7-week high in the previous session as Russia moved to restrict fuel exports until the end of next year. Gold power gains as weekly jobless claims unexpectedly decline. US President Donald Trump announces a round of tariffs, says the US will impose 100% tariff on branded patented drugs unless companies build a plant locally. Also announces 25% tariff on heavy-duty trucks and 50% on kitchen cabinets. The Supreme Court will hear Vodafone Idea's plea on additional AGR dues today. Last week, the government informed Supreme Court that they were not opposing the plea. JLR responded to CNBC TV 18 after the company, following its £2 billion insurance bill, tells CNBC TV 18 that the section of digital estates are up and running. Tata Motors says JLR has begun a phased restart to the operations. Hello, good morning. You've tuned into Power Breakfast. I'm Vinny Motiwala, and thank you so much for tuning in to CNBC TV 18. Today, what we're watching out for again in terms of a move, Asian markets have opened up a bit subdued, and that is what we'll keep an eye out on because the handover from US also has not been good. Asia market, Taiwan index is down more than 1% in today's trading session. Hang Seng is down 0.5%. Shanghai, very muted, slight bit of a positive bias right now, 0.02% uptick for Shanghai. Nikkei flat. It's absolutely flat. Slight bit of that negative bias over there. ASX 200, that's also very, very muted. Just 0.03% gains. So most of it either seeing a decline or very muted in terms of trade that we're seeing from the Asian markets. And look at the Nifty, GIFT Nifty, or Nifty implied open that we look at. That's down 30 points. So that is what we'll be keeping an eye out on, given that, we've already seen 5 days of decline coming in for the Nifty. Seems like today also is what we could watch out for. It's going to be a red start. And do not forget the commentary that has come in terms from President Trump as well, those sanctions coming in for branded pharma drugs. So that is what we'll keep an eye out on. Not much of an impact for pharma companies as such because most of it is generic, but that is something that could see some bit of an impact. Overall, globally also, we are seeing some bit of that pressure because of that. And even on the Indian markets, a red start is what we're watching out for. But a lot of commentary, a lot of things that have happened overnight. Now, how does all this impact our Indian markets? Our team of researchers here to set you up for trade, tell you which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. First up, let me go across to Vivek, who's going to tell us which are the important cues that we're keeping an eye out on in today's trading session. Good morning, Vivek.
Well, good morning. A lot of cues that we need to watch, especially when we enter trade, this Friday, given the fact that, number one, we are going with a very weak handover as far as Wall Street is concerned. Even they've had 3 straight sessions of cuts. Oil prices, remember, day first trade jumped almost 2.5%. Yesterday ended largely flat with a negative bias. Dollar index has further strengthened. And when you're looking at the Indian markets, remember, have now fallen for the 5th straight session, and all indications are that today could be another down day. What actually dragged markets yesterday, below the 24,900 mark as far as the Nifty is concerned, IT and auto were the top drags. And remember, TCS is now trading at a fresh 52-week low. Market spread largely in favor of the declines. But going into today, a lot of cues that we need to keep an eye out for. First up will be the entire pharma pack. Like you mentioned, this particular President Trump tweet or post that has come on Truth Social says that the USA is going to impose 100% tariffs on branded as well as patented pharma products unless they have plants and they build locally. But this will act as an overhang as far as the Indian pharma pack is concerned. Asian pharma stocks are reacting quite negatively to this particular post. Along with that, keep an eye out for IT stocks as well. Accenture has fallen post their Q4 results, FY26 constant currency growth guidance in the range of 2 to 5. Along with that, when you're looking at listings as well as the primary market, a lot of action there as well. 2 key listings, GK Energy as well as Sattvic Green Energy. Two IPOs openings today. Page Digitech close to 820 crores is what the company is looking to raise. Trueworld Bioenergy, Jinko has now entered day 2. Day 3 IPOs as far as subscriptions are concerned, Jain Resource Recycling, EPAC Free Tech as well as BMW Ventures. All of these companies currently are still open for subscription. In terms of Asian markets, largely negative, and GIFT Nifty, like you mentioned, is indicating a gap down start for our own markets.
Absolutely, Vivek. Thank you so much for that. As of now, it's 25 points down tick for the Nifty implied open. Let's move on to Gaurav now, who is here to tell us which are the important stocks to watch out for in today's trading session. Good morning, Gaurav.
Well, good morning. First, let's talk about Vari Energies because as per Bloomberg, Vari Energy is under US probe for evading solar tariff duties. So definitely watching out on this stock. Other than that, specifically on the Trump tariff, he has also mentioned about 25% tariff on heavy duties. So companies like Bharat Forge are also going to be in focus today. Apart from that, on the back of the news flow, first let's talk about Exide Industries because company is going to invest 80 crores in its arm in Bengaluru for lithium ion cell plant. Seagull India, now this company has received LOA for an order worth 509 crores from GMADA. So definitely this stock is on our radar today. Supreme Petrochem, this company has commissioned ABS project with capacity of around 70,000 TPA. RITES is also in focus because this company has also received an LOA worth $18 million for supply of locomotives. Lastly, let's also focus on BHEL and REC because Deepam has now not agreed to the proposal of formation of the joint venture between these two companies. Remember, there was a non-binding MOU which was signed by both these companies on 15th of March of 2024 with an intent to work together in areas of development of renewable energy. So definitely watching out on all these stocks in a day-to-day.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Gaurav. But in our final leg, we have Hormuz joining in with us to tell us what we should watch out for in the world of F&O. Good morning, Hormuz.
Good morning, Vinny. It doesn't look very impressive considering the 5-day losing streak that we have had on the markets. The bigger takeaway is the fact that all the benchmark indices have broken below key important levels. Now, of course, yesterday's trading session was marred by the fact that it was the IT stocks that continued to put pressure on the index, so much so that the index not only broke below the 25,000 mark but also below the 24,900 mark by the time closing happened. And not only that, it has closed below the 20-day moving average as well. The FII selling continues unabated, more selling figures coming in from yesterday's trade as well, adding more shorts, cutting down on the long positions even further. So that's another one to watch out for. The Nifty, as I mentioned, has closed below its 20-day moving average. The Nifty Bank, more importantly, has closed below the mark of 55,000, which was a long pending resistance. It had broken above it and went up to levels of 55,700 as well and has given up all of those gains and closed below the 55,000 mark. Of course, you keep an eye out on the IT names today as well after the Accenture results, which were not very impressive to begin with. And if you take a look at the index futures as well, there were net sellers, there were long positions that were cut down and short positions were added in the index futures as well. The options front as well, the 25,000 call option is seen the maximum writing and the premium there as well at around 80 rupees. The 25,100 call has also seen addition and the 24,900 put has seen an addition. So based on this, the 24,900 to 25,100 range becomes a very important level to watch out for on the upside for the Nifty. And of course on the downside, the 61.8% retracement, which comes up to around 24,803. That will be an important level to watch out for on the index. For the Nifty, of course, support, as I mentioned, that 61.8% retracement at 24,800, 24,770. That's an important level to watch. For the Nifty Bank, the next support level on the downside comes at around 54,500 now that it has closed below the mark of 55,000. And on the upside, the first resistance comes at around 55,300. Keep an eye out on HFCL that has come out of the F&O ban today. And Sammaan Capital and RBL Bank continue to remain in the F&O ban. And the two other important names to watch out for, TCS, as Vivek highlighted, 52-week low, fresh short positions were seen in this. Kalyan Jewelers also seeing fresh short positions with gold prices trading at record high levels. And of course, the stock to watch out for today is going to be Vodafone Idea ahead of the Supreme Court verdict on the AGR dues.
Absolutely, Vodafone Idea. So let's talk about that, right? Because Supreme Court, like you mentioned, will be hearing and the plea that is filed by Vodafone Idea challenging those AGR dues raised by the Department of Telecommunications. Let's go across to Ashmit, who's here to give us more details on this one.
Well, a crucial day today as far as Vodafone Idea is concerned. The Apex Court is likely to give clarity on the way forward on the resolution of the AGR dues. I use the word resolution on account of the language being used by the centre in this particular case. Bear in mind, there have been previous occasions where the company has asked for relief. On those occasions, the centre's position, the DOT's position has been is that this is an issue best left to the wisdom of the court. This time, however, there's a marked change. The Solicitor General, in the previous hearing, which took place on Friday of last week, the Solicitor General had a very different language, saying that the government now has skin in the game, the government has a 49% stake, and that now there is a change of facts on the ground, which is why the centre now feels that there is a need for a solution. There is a need for the court to grant indulgence to the centre while it's trying to resolve this issue. So for the first time, the centre batting in defence of a resolution of the AGR issue. What that resolution is, what that entails, is what we need clarity on. The Solicitor General, we understand, will be addressing the court shortly. This matter will be taken up shortly in the first half by the Apex Court, and that's perhaps we'll begin to get more clarity on what this roadmap to a resolution may look like as far as the AGR issue is concerned for Vodafone Idea.
Absolutely, Ashmit. Thank you so much for those details. We'll connect back as and when we get some more details. But let's move on, and we have Tata Motors. That's been in focus as well. And this is following a major cyber attack which impacted estimated over £2 billion for Jaguar Land Rover, which began a phased restart of recovery processes yesterday. This is what we've gotten in terms of an update. Now, the company spokesperson also clarified to CNBC TV 18 on the cyber attack issue, insurance coverage, and more. Hormaz, what is this clarification? What are the new details that we're picking up here now?
There's an interesting response that has come in from Tata Motors. We reached out to the company last evening after they had put out an update that there were reports suggesting that the lack of insurance coverage on the cyber attack could lead to a bill of almost £2 billion for the company, for Jaguar Land Rover. And in response to CNBC TV 18's queries, they mentioned the fact that they are beginning phased restart of the operations. They've also mentioned that there are sections of digital estate which are now up and running. The global parts logistics center is returning to full operations, and the financial systems that process the wholesale of vehicles is now online, which will enable the clients to sell and register faster registration and sale of vehicles for their clients. Now, on the insurance coverage, they mentioned that it is they do not comment on commercial matters such as this, and they had also mentioned yesterday as well that it is premature to go into the reasons as to why this happened. And on the financial impact, they said that they will continue to update in due course as part of their financial reporting process. The report suggesting that the £2 billion hit that JLR could take because of this cyber attack, and which is already much higher than the entire FY25 profit that JLR reported. So clarifications coming in from JLR that some operations are beginning to return on stream. The production halt continues till the 1st of October. We await more clarity on that front.
Okay, Hormaz, thank you so much for that. Some more clarity awaited, but we'll keep an eye out on Tata Motors in today's trading session. But on that note, we're going to actually now slip into a very short break. Up next, we'll bring you US President's latest commentary that's come in as he's announcing new rounds of tariffs on certain products. Details on the other side. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now, in a major development overnight, US President Donald Trump announced tariffs up to 100%, yes, on imports of branded and patented pharmaceutical products from 1st of October, unless a company is building their manufacturing plant in America. President Trump has also announced a sweeping 25% tariff on all heavy trucks made outside of America to protect their truck manufacturers. The tariff will come into effect from 1st of October and are intended to make America's truckers financially healthy. And lastly, the president announced a 50% tariff on all kitchen cabinets, bathroom vanities, as well as associated products starting from 1st of October as well. Now, that is the latest update that we have coming in from President Trump. Now, he's also signed an executive order declaring that his plan to sell TikTok's US operations to US and global investors will meet the national security requirement. Listen in.
This is going to be American operated all the way. And great respect for President Xi, and I very much appreciate that he approved the deal, because to get it done properly, we really needed the support of China and the approval of China.
Are you satisfied that there's no security concerns for the
Yeah,
US?
I
that it
am.
would
I really
push-
am.
That it would push disruptive
The biggest
content?
reason is that it's owned by Americans. It's, and very sophisticated Americans and people that love the country and very smart Americans too. So they don't want anything like that to happen.
And let's look at what the US markets did, right? Overnight, a muted day of trade that came in the US markets as well. All the three major indices that closed in the red. So Dow Jones was down almost 0.4%. We had S&P 500 down 0.5%. Nasdaq also was down 0.5%. We're watching out for key data points that will come in the US as well. The inflation data points, that is what we'll be keeping an eye out on. Obviously, we are the US market where the major players like Oracle, Meta and Tesla were also seeing a bit of a pullback coming in, leading to the pressure coming in even on Nasdaq. So that's what we'll be keeping an eye out on. Muted day and muted handover coming in from the US market as well. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break. Up next, we'll get you the cues in the world of commodities. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now let's move on. And speaking at the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar bats for making energy and other essentials accessible to everyone and calls out double standards. Listen in.
The costs, especially to the global south, in terms of energy, food and fertilizer security, were starkly demonstrated by ongoing conflicts, particularly in Ukraine and Gaza. Apart from jeopardizing supplies and logistics, access and costs themselves became pressure points on nations. Double standards are clearly in evidence. Peace can certainly enable development, but by threatening development, we cannot facilitate peace. Making energy and other essentials more uncertain in an economically fragile situation helps no one.
Okay, on that note, let's go across to Manisha Gupta, who's here to tell us what are we watching out for in the world of commodities this morning. Good morning, Manisha. Anything apart from gold and silver, or that continues to shine?
So I'll give it a back to gold then and talk about silver rather, because we are looking at a new 14-year highs of $45 an ounce for silver now. And with that, we've seen silver prices gain up by almost 56% for this year until now, clearly outperforming what gold has done. For silver, it clearly is about firm industrial offtake from photovoltaic panels and electronics. And then you're looking at tight physical availability, whether it's coming in from smelters. There is reduced from deliverability also. And the premium for near-term metal delivery is very high. So that is what is keeping silver in good favor there. The other thing to keep in mind is about the crude oil prices trading at a 7-week highs. And with that, we are headed for a 4% weekly gain for the crude prices, which is the best since mid-June. There is decline in crude inventory, suspension of Kurdish oil exports, NATO's warning of a robust response to Russian airspace incursions, and then Russia also is looking to introduce a partial ban on diesel exports until the end of this year. All of these factors really supportive, almost holding $70 a barrel in case of Brent prices. We're looking at good gains into this one as well.
Okay, Manisha, thank you so much for the latest update in the world of commodities. But with that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Power Breakfast. Nifty implied open is still indicating a bit of a muted start for the Indian markets. Now it's down just 13 points. When we started the show, it was down almost 30 points. So yes, a very muted start is what we could keep an eye out on. Don't go anywhere. Up next, your Bazaar Morning Call.